Hello and welcome to Czech Britain TV. My name's Imran Azan and we're here at Silicon Beach 2013 outside the Pavilion Dance, which is on the beach here in what was sunny Bournemouth, but is no longer sunny Bournemouth. It's a bit cloudy, but it makes it better for our lighting, so we're happy as long as the rain doesn't come down. We're joined by Russell Buckley, who is a partner at Ballpark Ventures. He's about to step on the stage and speak to the audience here, and he's kindly joined us for an impromptu interview. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome, Imran. Good to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you too. So, we'll get onto your shirt a little bit later.
Okay, good.
It's a very good choice, especially for live TV. Now, in the blurb here, you talk about Charles Duell and what he was remembered for, and that's a statement that basically everything that is to be invented has been invented, and the fact that he actually didn't say that, and it's wrong, and the fact that we're living in these ever-changing times, that was an unfortunate statement for him to be characterized with. You kind of go around speaking about the fact that we really don't know actually what the future holds, but we should embrace it. Can you kind of elaborate on that theme?
Yeah, I think we're living in exponential times, and exponential is something we band around quite willy-nilly in technology without really thinking through the implications. But exponential basically means that something doubles every given period. In technology terms, we think in terms of doubling every 12 to 18 months. And that sounds straightforward, and everything's doubling, so the speed and the power of the computing are doubling every 18 months. But it's a very non-intuitive way of understanding it. So what I mean is that if you were to have something double, well, let me back up and give you the analogy I'm about to give. It's a very complicated thing to explain unless you use a story, and I'll use a story. So I want you to imagine you're in the middle of a huge football stadium like Wembley, and at half-time, a little man in a white coat comes out to the centre spot and gets a little pipette of water and drops one drop of water on the centre spot. And it's a magic drop of water, so it's going to grow exponentially. It's going to double in size every minute. So if you're sitting at the back at the top, there's some cheap seats, the question really is, how long have you got before you drown?
Okay.
And intuitively we tend to think so years or months or certainly a long time, but the actual answer is 49 minutes.
Wow.
But perhaps more interestingly, at 45 minutes, when you've really got 4 minutes to save your life, get out before you drown, the stadium is still 97% empty, so all the growth comes later on. So if we're living in exponential times, you can see now why someone like the record industry a few years ago would say, well, we've definitely got a problem here, people are downloading our stuff, what do we do about it? They're not stupid people, they could see there was a problem, but they thought they had a long time to sort it out. And in fact, they didn't have any time to sort it out, they had the proverbial 4 minutes. And that's why
really we're at that point at which we really need to buck up our ideas and take notice of this change before the change overtakes us.
Completely. The moment you can see a trend, because the whole point of exponential is it starts very small and very slow, the moment you can see a trend, you need to act on it if it involves technology, because if you don't, you'll be too late.
In here it states that you believe that you've stated that by 2025 that mobile phones will be 1 million times more powerful.
1 billion, actually.
A billion times more powerful than they are, and smaller than a red blood cell, which is incredible to think. I mean, we're all excited about Google Glass coming along. I mean, this is just like small potatoes when it comes to really what's going to happen. And technology is one thing, but then it's how we apply that technology to our lives. And I suppose my question to you is it really possible to predict how we are going to use technology now? Shouldn't we simply go with the flow?
I think somebody has to have a roadmap. I mean, if you're basically a passive consumer of technology, yes, you go with the flow. But if you're a thought leader or involved in technology on an active basis, you need to have a roadmap and figure out what you're going to do. And if you're a brand, as an example, you definitely need to know what you're going to be doing, because otherwise you're just going to get left behind. You know, one of the interesting things about marketing and technology in the last few years, we've learned that it's all about the consumer and giving power to the consumer, and that's beginning to hit home, as we've seen some of the stories we've been hearing this morning.
And tell us a little bit about Ballpark Ventures. What's your role there, and what are they involved with?
Well, Ballpark Ventures is an early stage venture company. It's 4 people who created over $1 billion worth of value in terms of our previous startups. We're putting some of that money which we've earned from our technology startups into the new blood. So we have about 25 investments, and we also work very closely and invest in Techstars London, which is the new accelerator which has come across from the US. So we're sort of, I suppose, putting our money where our mouth is.
Okay, and it's solely focused on the technology scene.
Completely the technology, and but I also want to give a plug to my day job. Ballpark is sort of like a hobby, if you see what I mean. I actually these days get employed by the government to help UK startups raise money, both domestically but more importantly from overseas. So I take the best of the cream of UK tech, which is increasing exponentially all the time, and work with them to see figure out a fundraising strategy, and particularly how we can supplement UK sources of income or investment with overseas investment, from whether that be from Silicon Valley, from New York, Japan, increasingly Middle East, etc. Okay,
fantastic. So if any budding startups are watching with a great idea, at what stage should they really be contacting you?
Well, it's around Series A. Unfortunately, like any investment decision, a lot of our time is saying, well, sorry, you're a bit too early for us, or it's not quite right for us. But if you've got some traction, so you've got some income coming in, your business model has been proven up to a point, and you're trying to raise money between, say, $1 and $5 million, whatever that works out to in pounds, we should certainly be on each other's radar, even if it's saying actually it's a little bit too early, but we can help you in other ways. And bear in mind, I'm a bit of a one-man band trying to find those companies, so it sometimes takes me a few days to respond to email. But if anybody needs some help, please get in touch.
And how can we get in touch with you? What's your email?
The one I use generally is Russell at mobhappy, mobhappy.com.
Okay, that's fantastic. Russell, thank you very much for joining us. So you've heard from Russell. He's about to step on stage. Very interesting to hear his speech. We'll be getting back to you, well, probably in a few minutes, where we'll be interviewing other speakers who are going to be attending. And then we'll be signing off around 1 p.m. today. So thanks for joining us.